Maybe. Oh, and we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the ToolBelt, episode 292. I am your host, Ty Cobb. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition, and we will be right back after our short intro from our sponsors.
Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Is your lead flow down? Whether you're a company owner, office staff, salesperson, or installer, you're a roofing rock star. We help you get more leads with custom SEO, Google Ads, and a pro website.
Welcome to Behind the ToolBelt, where the stories are bold, the conversations are real, and the insights come to you live, raw, and uncut. Every week, host Ty Cobb Backer sits down to bring you the stories, the struggles, the lessons learned, and the wins. No filters, no scripts, just the truth. Please welcome your host of Behind the ToolBelt, Ty Cobb Backer.
Hey, and we are back. Welcome back to Beyond the ToolBelt, where we talk with builders, branders, and big thinkers shaping the trades and beyond. Today's guest is a powerhouse in the world of marketing. He's helped hundreds, if not thousands, of contractors grow their businesses and also has built a dominant agency in the roofing space. And now he's dropping a blueprint for becoming unforgettable in your own backyard. He is the founder of Hook Agency and the host of Hook Better Leads. How to become, and now has his brand new book on how to become a hometown hero. This one's about, sorry. I feel like I got this freaking.
I'll tell you what it's about if you want.
It's about. Why don't you tell us what the hell it's about? Yeah, I have no idea what the hell it's about.
Real quick, it's about getting stickier in your local tightest possible area. So a lot of people try to go really broad, really quick. And this one is about getting really tight on the space that you're trying to market to. And then it's about emotional things that make you stickier. And it's got 27 people in it that know the topic from each chapter really, really well. I found the best person at that particular topic and got them to speak on it. So it's got a lot of people's stories in it and just a lot of cool people, roofing and other home services. So plumbing and HVAC. Yeah. Thank you.
And it feels like a real book.
It's a real book.
It feels like a real book. Yeah.
It feels like a real book.
Well, I was kind of, hesitant because I thought, no, it's a book by Tim Brown. I was like, what kind of book? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. What could this possibly be? And the funny thing is like, it's good. It's better than I deserve because of those 27 people that are in it. It's better than I deserve as far as like how good the ideas are in here. And there's just literally, you'll go through it and you'll both have a little bit of a change of the way you're thinking about your marketing, like a bigger change. And there's a bunch of little tactics to use right away. So I hope people check out the book, but we can talk about whatever today. We don't have to sit and talk about
No, it's good. That's good. No, I love it because it's more than just about marketing. It's about impact, influence, and what it takes to earn legendary status in your community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and
I
you're
love
a great
that.
example of this. You're a really good example. That's why you're in the book. That's why Ty's in the book. But there's a bunch of other people that are kind of like Ty in that they're awesome and they're really good at these local marketing tactics and like involving yourself, being involved. That's a lot of it's around being involved. And you're such a great example of being involved. And I got really challenged by a ton of the people that shared in the book. Like I was like, damn, we could be doing more.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's a lot of great people in the book. You interviewed a ton of, people that have major impact and influence, not just, it's so much that they actually impact our industry as a whole, not just their local communities. Cause you got man, I a like the biggest, heaviest hitters that are possibly, in our industry. And I love that about it. So I do want to talk about your book because I have a bunch of
Mhm.
questions. I'm sure some of our viewers have questions
Sure.
for you too. And it's like, you know, like what I guess my biggest question or my first question for you would be like, what inspired you to write this book and why now?
Yeah, I think, it's funny, like as a CEO, I'm a CEO, right? And it's interesting because as I start to become yeah, I'm going to be starting to move away actually from our own marketing even and being as involved because it's just that's what happens, right?
Mhm.
Because you have to be a stakeholder in your business. You have to actually be an executive, like you have to execute, you have to like make the decisions, and it's a lot. And you have to be a leader, like just be a great leader, right? That's what I'm moving towards. And I wanted to kind of capture some of this stuff before I kind of
Mhm.
push off from just pure marketing. Cause now we've got a marketing manager and she's got a videographer, and I'm just trying to like almost like capture everything I can. I'm gonna get better as a communicator. I'm probably gonna learn some things about a marketer as a marketer, but I think like right now I'm still just on the end of my like me marketing this business as the primary marketer. So I wanted to like almost capture everything and then also just like make something that involved a ton of our community, which is like the roofing and home services space. Like, so this is like a community effort book, which is fun. It was a way to connect with people. It's good for our marketing, obviously. But I think at the end of the day, like it's also a fun thing to try to. It's very cheap, it's fairly cheap for how much. That's the crazy thing about books. We forget
Mhm.
books, like somebody's trying to distill everything that's really good that they know into like 200 pages. And like
Mhm.
it's crazy what you can discover reading. Okay, I'm a big reader. So I'm not writing a book out of a place of like I haven't literally half of our success is probably partly from books. The other half is from just doing shit and working 70 hours a week and all that, right?
Yeah.
But like reading a lot of books and like absorbing information um has been a big piece of that. So it's kind of like a giving back thing too, because it's fairly cheap, right? The paperback is like going to be $14 on Amazon or something, but it's
Mhm.
actually stuffed. It's actually stuffed with the best information. And we're kind of, it's almost like borderline giving it away. Cause it'll,
Yeah.
it's like each book sold is like $3-4 in my pocket or something. It's like, I'm not worried about those $3-4. I want to get as many of these out there as I possibly can. Cause I do believe there is something about if you're able to give away value to a
Mhm.
lot of people, so let's say we have 130 clients or whatever, and if I'm able to like impact 1,000 people through this book, it'd be cooler to be able to help more people. That would be really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, and that's what's really all about. I mean, and it sounds like you're on this leadership journey of trying to sharpen and hone those skills and stuff like that. And that's what it's about. It's the impact. That's where the wealth and the success really live in that space, not the $3 or $4 off each book, but the individuals that you are impacting
Hmm.
from your book with your book is where the true
Hmm.
wealth and success come from. And
Yeah.
every 1,000 people, there's probably another three more people that you're also impacting that you have no idea that you're impacting. So if you have 130
Hmm.
clients that all bought a book, that's at least 200 or 390 people that you've impacted essentially, because
Hmm.
whether they're regurgitating something that they heard in the book and sharing it with somebody else, or they shared your book with them, like
Hmm.
that ripple effect's a lot bigger than I think we discovered or that we know. Like there's people that are going to watch this podcast today that didn't subscribe to the YouTube channel, don't follow me on social media, but have watched it, and we have no idea how many people or even what
Hmm.
country it's in. And same with your book. And you're doing, by the way, you're doing an amazing job promoting the crap out of this book. You are so creative and so
Yeah.
unique in your ways of promoting the book, and the 5 minute cold tub challenge, and then $500 towards your local charitable um, place. it's brilliant, because then you're on social media, you're captivating audiences. You challenged me, I challenged two people, they're both going to do it, and I don't even know how many people you've challenged and how many people
Yeah.
those people are challenging. So having said all of that, think of that small little ripple effect that you've created, that one day you decided to do a 5-minute cold plunge. Like, that's at least 30, 25, 20, 30 people right there.
Yeah. And I think it's like a total like 17 after today, it'll be like 18,000 given too. So it's local charities. It's been really fun too. It's just, I think for some reason when you're in the cold plunge, like I'm always like, I remember doing a 15-minute cold plunge with David Carroll. And I remember he was like trying to get me to stay in there. It's like one of my first times doing it. I stayed in there for 15 minutes. I remember like looking him dead in the eyes. We were like facing each other in 2 cold plunges. And I was like, we got to make positivity louder, man. Like we were just like, I had to like go into a different realm to stay in there that long. And part of it was like, I getting hyper clear on what I'm trying to do in the world. And for some reason, I think cold plunge kind of unlocks that for me. And not sometimes it's just stressful, but sometimes it unlocks like my like, what do I want to do, man? Because I want to I want to make positivity louder. So it's so obvious that like negativity takes over the feeds on social and stuff like that. But it's our job. It's my responsibility to unfollow, unfriend, negative. I'm not saying in the toxic way, but I'm saying like when there's people doing negative stuff all the time, and focus on like, what do I want to bring to the world? What's positive? How can I elevate people? How can I make their lives a little better? How can I think even the best way to think about it is like my community, a direct community. And for me, part of that is roofing. Like roofing is my direct, tiniest community, right? Like it's huge, 110,000 companies in the United States, but my direct, tight community. And I think we can all look at that now. Minneapolis is also my direct community. Like, can we focus on a tighter area and see if we can make a little bit of a real impact? Because it is hard to make a real impact in the world. And I'm kind of I'm like really conscious of that. I'm really conscious of how short life is, and like how it's gonna be gone tomorrow. And I would love it if I end this life where people actually like cared about me, and also that I made somebody's life a little tiny bit better. That's like I'm just a little too conscious of how short this whole thing is.
Yeah. I think that's a natural thought for anybody who, for all of us that are getting a little bit older and that have older parents, and some of us who have parents who have passed away at some point in time, because I never used to worry about, how short life was. I'm like, I got 90 years left. And it's like, the older I get, it's like, holy shit, I might only have like 30 years left. And so, and that's the thing too, the older I get too, it's like, that's one thing I will never get back. It's like, okay, yeah, I can chase money, but how much longer, would I have on this earth if that was my main focus, was just chasing money or spending time with my family. Right. And really absorbing that time, with and being surrounded by those that I love. I find that more valuable today than I have ever had, only because I do know how precious time is and that we're only here for a short amount of time. But while we're going to be here, we do want to have the largest impact, the most impact that we can possibly have on every single person, because that is true legacy. It's not necessarily the cars, the trucks, the toys, the business that we might leave behind. That is your legacy. Your legacy is how you make people feel, how you've made them felt, how you made them feel, and they're still talking about like that. Tim was just a great human being. And if it wasn't for him,
or evil, like, hey, we're all, every one of us is a villain in someone's story. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I think it's just being conscious of that. And as somebody who's had his own little form of redemption, you know what I mean? I have to say it hasn't always been like that, right? Like I feel like sometimes, Ty, just to go deep for a second, it's like, sorry, I'm going to speak as me. I've had times in my life where I wasn't trying as hard to do the right thing, right? And so sometimes I feel like I'm just, I've felt like I was just living down karma by
Mhm.
trying to do some good things for the world. Cause I'm like, I gotta undo some of this stuff. Like that party, like I'm not even saying partying's bad, but like some of the things I did when I was partying, like not treating people as good as I'd like to. So some of it was
Mhm.
like living that down. I hope I'm past living that down now. And now it's just an abundance thing and life is good. And I do feel like there's so many good things going on that I must have done something right.
Mhm.
But for a while there, it was just like lived on some of this karma, bro. Like I gotta do some positive things to offset some of the negative things, So
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
being real about that.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that too. I think one of the things why I got into, charitable events and becoming, what I hope someday a hometown hero was is because I felt like I needed to make a lot of wrongs right, and that I owed it to society. I owed it to my parents. And it's like I feel like at one point in time, like I was going a little overboard where it almost became like a job, and then I spread myself too thin. And now I'm kind of like in that place where it's kind of like, okay, now I can scale this back a little bit. I think morally I've done a lot of these living amends that I needed to make. I still make mistakes. I still owe people, an apology every now and then, but I catch it a lot quicker because this thing too, I want to live a good life. I want to live a life of
Yeah.
peace, and I don't want to, feel awkward around people. And I'm not saying that there isn't people that don't snatch my spirit. And I know me enough
Mhm.
today that sometimes I do need to avoid people, places, things, and situations because
Mhm.
it will snatch my spirit. They're like an energy vampire, um those places sometimes, and it's like I do because I do want to live on like that energy bus, right? And I want
Mhm.
passengers on that bus with me on this journey that radiate energy. I actually switched my signature on my email to CEO, and not for chief executive officer, but for chief energy officer, because that is my job today. I am the guy that spreads the
Mhm.
energy, whether it's good or bad, right? And I got to be real
Mhm.
conscious of what form of energy I'm radiating on a day-to-day basis. Even with my family, the closest people in my life, I know I can turn a room dark or I can lighten that thing up like a Roman candle in a
Mhm.
good way. So I know that about me. I know I'm very impactful, whether it's negative or positive, and I'm very aware of that today. But that's where I get my fulfillment from, right? If somebody comes into my
Mhm.
office and they have an issue and they're having a bad day, like I want them leaving the office in a better space than they were
Yeah.
before they came into my office, because I used to be the guy that if they screwed something up, one, I was very unapproachable. I would have lost my shit. Not that I still don't have a moment every now and then, but I've learned to be able to pick and choose my battles better, I think. And you were talking about the one thing, leadership, and you're talking about, your business is in a good place. And it's like I've been in business, and I'm gonna switch the subject here a little bit, but it sounds like you are in a peacetime, right? Like peacetime.
Mhm.
So there's peacetime leadership and there's wartime leadership,
Yeah.
at least
Yep.
when you're in business long enough, because businesses go through ebbs and flows. And
Yeah.
it's great when you're kind of
Yeah.
like on that pink cloud in business where everything just
Oh
seems
yeah.
like,
I mean, last
it's,
year, because it was you and I talked about this last year, like
yeah.
election years, bro.
Mhm.
I actually had it in my calendar, or I put it in my calendar now. I have it in
Mhm.
my calendar now for the beginning of an election year. I think
Mhm.
you said that to me on
Yep.
the trip we did, and I have that now. So, but it was a
Like
bad one for us.
preparing yourself, yeah, for
Yeah.
wartime leadership, because that's when
Yeah.
you have to pivot and you have to be way proactive. You can't react
Yeah.
to an election year. If you're already in it,
Yeah.
you're already in it. You have to prepare for it. And it's like, and where your services come into play for somebody like me in a roofing space, like if I know an election year is coming, that means I need to start doubling down now. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And not wait till
Yeah.
January 1st and then the inauguration is over and then decide I'm going to start marketing. Like you got,
Yeah.
that was my whole point, was is like once I have identified some ebbs and flows over the years, and anything, I've learned this too, anything can affect the economy. Anything, something
Hmm.
that is posted on social media, something that's all over the news. It doesn't necessarily have to do with, politics necessarily.
Mhm.
It could do with, I mean, all sorts of things can affect the economy,
Yeah,
but
well,
go ahead.
everyone gets really like over analyzing, I think, too, in those. I mean, just overthinking stuff, right? Because they're like, because it's pretty negative too. The news cycle gets very negative during election
Of course
year.
it does.
So it's just like, so anyways, I'm prepping for that next time.
Okay.
And the funny thing is like we had like a 20-30% growth. So I don't know what I was complaining about, but it's like when you prepare for a lot of growth, like when you hire ahead and then
Yeah.
you're like you hired too much, and then you're like, so that happens. I feel like that's I've talked to a bunch of entrepreneurs where they did the same thing, where they're like
Mhm.
they're hiring for a bunch of growth, and then if it doesn't happen like that, they're just kind of upset because we're not promised anything, right? Like as an
No.
entrepreneur, there's no guarantee. Like you can do all the things right, but there's things outside of your control, which is something I'm just learning in business. I mean, I've known in life for a while, right? Like, but there's things outside of my control. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean I have a bad business, but there's cycles and larger patterns that affect my business, whether or not I want them to. And
Mhm.
I do like the phrase. I've talked to this big HVAC sales guy. He says, I never participate in a bad economy. I
Mhm.
love that. However,
Yeah.
it's like not even always about economy. It's just like apprehension for purchases. It's just that cycle we don't know. And like the bigger your business is, I think the bigger it's like you don't get to just like slap a little motor on the back of this thing and then like go fast, right? It's
Right.
crazy how big the motor has to be on a big boat.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. It's harder to reel things in the larger that it is. And your team has a lot to do with it too. Like if you got to pivot and pivot quick, your leadership plays a big, huge role in that. And Jocko Willing talks about decentralized command. If
Mhm.
we have over 100 coworkers at any given time, okay, if they all had to wait for me to make decisions, like, oh, I don't know. When is this getting done? I don't know. I'm waiting on Ty to get back from
Mhm.
vacation before he can, or whatever the case might be. That
Yep.
bottlenecks the entire business. And fortunately, I had just got to experience one of our leaderships. Um, that was a bottleneck at one of our locations. So I actually got to see myself in somebody else. We're going through some transitioning right now, and I got to reflect on where some of the ebbs were and where some of the flows were, like what was good, what was bad, and where what it came down to is first and foremost, I didn't set clear enough expectations, a timeline, a
Mhm.
budget. So I looked at to see where I played a part in this, or not necessarily
Yeah.
what part, but what could I have done differently. And then I also got to reflect upon what the other party may have been doing wrong, and a lot of that had to do with trust and
Mhm.
setting and instilling and empowering other people to make decisions. And all of the decisions rested upon this person's shoulders. Well, there was no growth, there was no expansion, there was like, it just completely got super stale. And everybody kept saying, well, so and so busy, I'm waiting on an answer, I haven't heard from him for 2 weeks. We don't know where he's at, he hasn't gotten back to us yet. And it's like it all stemmed from one individual that everybody was waiting on to just make a decision.
Mhm.
And everyone's just kind of like
Yeah.
sitting around waiting, not trying to figure out what to do. And I got to actually sit back and see myself in another human being. It's like, God. And it
Mhm.
was a reminder, because I haven't led that
Yeah.
way necessarily. Now there are certain things that don't, that I make decisions on. But nobody's necessarily, I don't think, waiting around, where we're holding up a couple $1 million,
Yeah.
or, or screwing over a homeowner because, they're waiting on me to make a decision, and I think that's where a lot of businesses stunt their growth, is because
Yeah.
it's kind of like they're running it, and they're trying to wear too many hats, and everyone's kind of sitting around waiting for them to make a decision.
I think that this is a really interesting, fun topic for me. I hope it's interesting for a few people out there. But like,
Yeah.
I think about like this. There's this threshold for a marketing company, it might be 5 million, roofing company might be 10 million. Like once you go past this certain threshold, there has to be executive decision making. There has to be good decision making, and you have to dedicate time to, you know what I mean? Like you always have to, but like at a certain point, it's a real job, right? Like we played CEO plus 10 other things for a long time, right? Like we did that. You have to do that too. That's real.
Oh yeah.
You better not think I'm going to only work on the business and not in the business. You got to work in the business and on the business and around the business and underneath the business and above the business when you're early. But as time goes on, I'm realizing like it's a real job. Like CEO is a real job. And I probably will pass it off at some point, but like I need to actually do the job of CEO. So we had like a leadership planning meeting yesterday, and you've talked about this to me before, but like it's pretty far in advance. Like we're making decisions for a year from now about like what's changing and what we're doing, and like we made the decision. You know, it's not just talking about it, it's getting everybody on board in the leadership and then making a decision and making sure everyone's excited about it. Right. Like, so it's crazy. I mean, you got to make decisions, right? And there's like, there's a ton of data. Well, shit, I don't know the actual data, but I've seen that there's a ton of data supposedly about people that make decisions. It definitely helps your success. Like if you're capable of just making decisions, because there's wrong decisions and there's right decisions, but there's nothing worse than no decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And not making a decision is making a decision. And that's where things kind of just get stale. You know, I had a good example. It's like, it's not like, yes, we have to make decisions, but we also have to allow other people to make decisions just because we decided that we're going to go in another direction. Well, there's a lot of things that have to happen in order for us to go to a certain direction. And I have to empower people to make sure that happens, which means they're going to have to make decisions and build SOPs and track KPIs and all those things. Like just because I made the decision doesn't mean I'm going to recreate the freaking SOP book. Doesn't mean that I'm going to, design a whole, new matrix for the KPI dashboard. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to do those things. So I have to allow them to make those decisions on what KPIs. Like I might have a suggestion, like make sure you track these KPIs because these are things that I want to look at, but I'm not in their department. So there may be other KPIs that they need to look at. And I'm not going to dictate that because they're the ones on the front line that have to use it every single day. And that's what I mean by like empowering someone to make a mistake. And this is what the cool part about it, which could also be a catch-22 is that they're going to make mistakes. Okay. And I actually said, that's the cool part about it, because the only way that they're going to learn, the only way that I've ever learned was screwing a lot of shit up. So unfortunately we have to leave enough room, deal with it later. Okay. You messed up. Cool. No problem. What did we learn from it? What are we gaining from this right now? Shit, we need to create another KPI dashboard. Shit, we need to add another page into the SOP, book that we have. And it's like all these things. And that's where SOPs get born. That's where they get developed. Like, okay, we got to document this so I don't ever do it again. And by having it documented, it's so much easier to empower, to trust, because now it's more than hearsay. Well, I thought I told you to do it this way. Oh, no, you didn't. And then there's an argument. It's like, no, I documented it. Not only did I tell you and show you how to do it, but I also left you with a hard copy. Now go.
Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of Loom for video tests, for video tutorials. I just first day with an executive assistant, second try. I think after we hung out, I tried to hire one last summer and she was, anyways, so it didn't work. But then now I'm trying another one. So let's see how it goes. I'm doing way more Looms than I did last time. I'm doing a lot more like documentation and I think that there's,
you can't document enough. Document everything. As stupid as it sounds, because you're going to probably forget too, and you're going to wish, damn it, I wish I wrote that down because I can't remember. I had it, but I can't remember what the hell it was. Oh, but yeah, write everything down.
Back to your thing about the like to make good decisions. This is definitely higher level stuff, right? This isn't like your first 1 to 3 million stuff,
right?
But I think there will be people that watch this. So, and as time goes on, you will need this information. It's good, which is you do, and as time, I think anyone could use this, but I think for us, it's like, if you had to do it, you would not make the right decisions a lot of times. Like if you had to be the one to implement certain things, like that's why who not how is so important. And I thought when I first heard that idea, it's Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. The book is very good, Who Not How, but it's fairly simple mental mindset. I thought it was a little soft when I first heard it, but as time has gone on, it's like actually fundamental, right? Which is you have to have who's to do the thing, so that I find that I make better decisions because I'm not the one that's going to have to do everything. Right. So it's actually like, it's like an argument for good leadership that isn't always constantly doing the work. And I used to think I would take pride that I both led and did a bunch more work than everybody else, but I also was a crabby dude.
Yeah.
And this isn't like I wasn't a bad guy. I was just a crabby guy. And I would hold people back, partly because I would be running ahead and doing the thing that I asked them to do 2 days ago, and I didn't give them a week to finish it. Right. Like, so who not how is like, all right, I'm going to make better decisions because I have who's that are capable. I've made good decisions on who, and then they're owning usually a number. What's the number? You know what I mean? And then tasks too, but like, even then, ideally, as time goes on, they get to have their own who's too, right? So I just love this mindset. And I'm telling my marketing manager, by the way, I am so proud of my marketing manager. She got 20 leads in a day the other day. One day. Holy shit, that's crazy.
That's a lot.
And I was scared I was going to have to like micromanage everything and be behind the scenes and do this stuff. And she just got 20 leads in a day. And it's not from any crazy, big, innovative campaign. It was from being consistent and sharing social proof and case studies and real work and being consistent. That's all. Consistency has been huge. And, but I also tell her she needs who's, right? I'm not just the only one that gets who's. I'm trying to teach her, how to get people to do things, and trying to make sure she has a bigger vision for her career and her role than just be the one to do every little thing. So, and that's hard, like when you're really early, but as time goes on, you want to be able to allow your people to have who's too. It's just very high and mighty, for a guy who's got a little bit bigger business than an early startup. But at the beginning, you just got to think that way. Like I can set a big goal, and I won't be the only one involved. I'm going to get some other really great people involved. Otherwise, this big goal would be ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're right. And that, I think that's where a lot of us get stuck. I was stuck in that, early stage bootstrap startup, roofing company where I felt like I had my pulse on everything and did everything. And if it took too long, it was like, kind of get out of the way. I can do it better, and I think it's because it's our baby. We think, nobody can do it any better than us. And man, I haven't talked about this for a while. We're like, I'm wearing 15 hats and now I'm just mediocre at everything. I can't excel at anything, whether it's personally or professionally, because I'm so stressed out. I'm working 100 hours a week. I'm selling the jobs. I'm building the jobs. I'm ordering the materials. I'm calling up the subs. I'm calling up the supply house, like all of these things where it's like, and I think I was thinking so small, and I've been on this kick, and it's going to be a part of my keynote, but it's almost like I had that mentality, like I can outwork anybody. Okay. Just to make ends meet. Like I wasn't purpose driven, right? My purpose was just to make ends meet. But my attitude is I'll outwork everybody. And I think if we think that way, yes, you need that mindset when you get into business for yourself. It's like, yes, you need to outwork everybody. You need to be the first one there, the last one to leave, and set the example and set the standard early. I get that. But you need to be driven by purpose. Like, what is your purpose? Is your purpose to eventually create this framework and be able to pass it off to somebody else so then they have something to do? Okay. So now you're impacting somebody else, you wrote the framework. And then I've noticed over time, like my old frameworks that I've passed the torch off to other people, they do it so much better than I ever did it. Because one, I was doing 15 jobs. I was mediocre at everything. I couldn't excel. I couldn't think high level. I was so far in the weeds and working in the business. Okay.
Yeah.
Then when I started to delegate things to people, okay, I found out, like, one, first and foremost, we started to grow almost exponentially. Like immediately we started to grow the moment I started to delegate tasks to other people. And then I realized, like, holy shit, that one task that I was doing actually created a 40-hour-a-week job. Okay. The scheduler, the person that schedules all the roofing, the siding, and the gutter jobs, like that is like a one-man person. Like that was me doing that on top of selling the job, on top of the service department. I was still putting on my tool pouch at that time. And wondering why I'm screaming, grow, 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 go, go, go. And it's like, dude, like, well, I can't go anywhere. Like I was stuck.
Yeah.
You know, and it was because
that's
I didn't
one thing
trust
that
anybody.
the whole like rah thing only gets you so far, right? Like, and I realized that, you know, too. And I think it's also telling my people about this idea too, right? Like, cause right now my wife is about to have a baby. A son. We're about to have a son. I'm so excited.
Wow.
Hopefully in a month.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We're very excited. And
I bet.
she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna step out. Everything's gonna be fine while I'm gone." I'm like, "Baby, you have no idea how many things you do around here. You have no idea." And like, I know there's like an impulse in all of us to then, okay, I'm gonna be gone for 2 months, and everything's going to be fine. And then they're going to miss me. And then when I come back, they're going to be like, oh, we realized how much you do. But like, we have to almost like be doing our own little succession planning all the time.
Yeah.
Ideally, like in her case, I'm trying to get her to like replace some of that. Like basically she runs the office admin. And then there's a bunch of other things. She's also like ARAP. She's got so many jobs, you know what I mean? Like so many jobs. And I think when you're a business owner, you don't realize how many jobs you've been doing.
Right.
And once you start passing it off, you're usually, in my case, I was like, that's all you can do. That's like 1/5 of what I was doing. And that means I was productive, but it also means no wonder I was frazzled. You know what I mean? Because I literally had 5 jobs. So, but it's also like teaching other people like to kind of do some little bit of self-succession. And we did this recently very positively when our video guy, who I love, Jack, moved on to, and that was like obviously a gut punch because he's super cool and I miss him to this day. He moved on to Barstool Sports, which is a dream job, but I do aspire to one day Hook Agency being a dream job as well. I think for some people it is, but I think that he took 2 weeks to make all the standard operating procedures for his role. And so when the new video guy, Axel, just started now, he stands on the shoulders of giants. You know, he's capable of getting up to speed so much quicker. He's already putting out really cool videos. And I'm like super proud of him. And part of that is because he immediately got up to speed with all these SOPs. So we all have to think about that, whether we're a business owner or somebody else, like succession planning for ourselves, allowing somebody else to be able to take over if we're gone. And that makes our lives better as professionals, because then we can take a break, or like we can go on vacation and not everyone's like blowing us up because we made a few Loom videos or a few SOPs to allow somebody else to take that part of our like critical part of our job over for a little while. So it's hard to teach people that without saying hire, because I'm not saying that. Hire slowly. Like let's all keep the boat afloat with profit, but also allowing somebody else to do your job for a little bit, or when you do bring somebody on, like giving them everything they possibly can use to succeed. Anyways, the whole SOP thing is like, I could talk about that forever because it's obviously like super important.
Yeah, it really is. Document everything. And like, I like how you mentioned too, like, what if somebody wants to go on vacation and not be bothered? It is so important that somebody else within your office, and we do a lot of cross training. So that way, if somebody does leave, along with the documentation, whether it's hard copy or digital copy of the SOP, but pretty much, especially on the admin side of things, there's not many people that don't know how to do everybody else's job. One, because if somebody gets backed up, somebody can jump in and kind of help out and pick up the pieces. But most importantly, so they can get some time off and spend some time, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, or if they're pregnant and they need to take a furlough, for 2-3 months at a time. And we've done that already, where the team is able and capable of pulling together and pulling their weight instead of hiring somebody else temporarily, right? The team has actually stepped in and has filled that position while they're out so they can spend some time, with their newborn, which is a pretty cool place to be when you can actually offer something like that for somebody. And it then hopefully becomes, like you said, a dream job for somebody. You know what I mean? And I think that goes into trust for both parties, for the coworker and for the entrepreneurs. Like, hopefully they trust the company enough that, like, we're having you create this SOP, not to necessarily
Yes.
replace you,
Yeah.
but so you can take some time off, because I've gotten pushback already about that. Like, everyone's like, no, I don't want anybody to know how or what it is I do, because now it becomes job security. And little do they know, when you're thinking like that, again, getting back to small thinking,
Yes.
they're actually bottlenecking that department. They're
Mhm.
bottlenecking like their role. And it's like, if you can convince them, like, look, we want you to grow within this company. And at some point in time, you should start looking for your replacement so you can actually move up in the company. And that's where our jobs are so important to be. The CEO is always trying to figure out ways to create more opportunities for people. How can we bring smarter people into our organization and raise the IQ of our organization? And we may already have that IQ here, but we need to unlock it with that individual and help them move into a higher position, and then filter somebody else in to replace what it was they were doing. And when you were talking about yourself and your wife, and she's got to take time off, I think the biggest thing that I've tried to do over the years is always found, not always, up until a couple of years ago, I was always trying to find my replacement, right? Especially it's something that I know I'm not very good at and something that I dislike doing. If I'm not enjoying doing it, I got to get somebody else to do it. Unfortunately, I'm in a position to be able to do that. And even if you're in a smaller company and you're just starting out, if there's something you're not very good at, and it's holding your company back, you and your family and everybody else around you, then you should probably find somebody else that can do it better.
I want to also note, sometimes it's something you are good at. And I mean, for instance, this marketing thing, I love marketing, man. I really love it. I will do it all the time, every day in bed for fun. You know what I mean? Before I go to sleep and when I wake up. However, being a CEO is the most important thing I can do with my time. Like leading people, making good decisions. And I also enjoy that. I love strategic planning. I love making good decisions, especially when we're winning. Obviously, it's like the best, right?
Yeah.
But I love marketing, but I hide there. And I've had coaches tell me that. I've had like peers, like, it's just because you love it. And I know this is tough. This is like, I'm saying kind of 201, not 101 leadership. It's like, just because you love it, doesn't mean that's all you should be doing. If the next best thing for the business to move forward, is for you to do some harder stuff again, because I'm not trying to brag, but I'm pretty good at marketing. Like, we've been marketing a long time, right? Whatever. Just because I'm good at it and I like it doesn't mean it's the highest leverage, highest value thing I can do with my time. I'm still going to do some of it because I need that to like get the like itch scratched. But there's also an element of like, you got to do CEO stuff. If you want to be a CEO, you got to be doing CEO stuff, So that's how I feel right now, is like making sure. Yeah.
And sometimes it actually gets harder. Like, we think, okay, now we're in a position where we may not have to work so much, but not if you have big big dreams and goals and aspirations and want to take it to a whole nother level. What that means is there's a whole lot of more uncomfortable shit that you're going to have to learn, because we all know what got us here won't keep us here and won't get us where we want to go. So for me, my experience is there's been a lot of training and skills that I had to learn if I wanted to be an XYZ, type of CEO and manage, 1,000 people. Okay. Which means I am going to have to let go of some things that I think I'm good at and I think I enjoy. Okay. Because obviously I know that there's a lot more smarter people out in the world that can do a lot of these things. And sometimes I get so emotionally attached to things that I allow my emotions to interfere, and it doesn't get done as well.
Yeah.
Now, if I can delegate it to somebody else that isn't emotionally attached to it, they may be able to deal with that problem better than I could. And I've had to learn that the hard way. Go ahead.
I've chosen my successor as the CEO of Hook Agency, and I'm pre-planning, because he's now the president. He started as the president July 1, which is a big deal for us. I call that exact thing, I call it the sacred cow paradox. I'm emotionally attached to some things I do, and I think I'm the best in the world, that no one can ever do it. But at the end of the day, it'd be really good if I eventually could pass it off. And I call it a paradox because, yes, you're always doing that, and you should always be trying to get rid of stuff, because your time, almost like it'd be like the ideal state, Ty in a meditation room, all black everywhere. He's just hovering a little bit, and he's like, somebody comes to him, yes or no? Yes. Like that would be the ideal state, like almost for a CEO, like just pure thinking, like just pure, every once in a while he gets down in the trenches just to clarify his thinking. But that's not how it ever is in practice, right? We're always doing something. And so the paradox part of it is that you have to zoom back in every once in a while and just do something. And usually there's something every day that you just have to do. So it's like, even though you're fighting back and forth, you're trying to pass everything off, not because it's actually harder than just doing it, way harder. But then every once in a while you just have to jump back in. So that's why I call it a paradox, because it's never done.
No,
even though you're always doing it.
Yeah, it's never. And the thing, one of the hardest lessons that I've learned is that I can fill the office up with a lot of smart people, but if they don't have the right leadership and direction, it's still, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Now I need to learn how to lead in a different way. I need to learn how to lead leaders now. It's one thing to have just like 4 or 5 roofers that I'm leading on a roof, right? But when you get in the realm of, multi 8 figures, and you got a lot of smart people in the room, like you got to handle them differently, and you have to lead them differently. You have to set different expectations, different goals, because now when we talk about like, yeah, my dream's going to be big enough for their dream to fit in, like that's real shit. Because they have goals, dreams, and aspirations. And that there was probably the hardest, because I was in a position where it was like, I had all these smart people, like all these great people, high motivated, intelligent people from other industries that were coming into our industry, whether it was the car industry, the tech industry, the roofing industry. But I had to learn how to lead them differently. Right. Which then, getting back to my earlier point, is that there was some things that I didn't know how to do. I had to educate myself. Okay. So now it was like going back to school again, not necessarily going back to school, but I had to learn how to actually become a CEO of people that make 6 figures. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It was a hard learning curve for me, because I thought if I just got all the right people to, surround yourself with smart people, because we hear that. Well, okay, I did. But they're not doing anything. They're not accomplishing anything. Our revenue is the same. What the hell is going on? Well, that doesn't mean my job is over just because I've hired all these really smart people, right? That know how I thought knew how to do things. I had to learn how to actually lead them differently. I'm not saying like differently in terms of like I have to treat them differently like I do everybody else, but a lot of times their goals and dreams and aspirations are a lot different than somebody that I don't know. I don't even want to use an example here because I don't want to offend anybody, but I I learned that I had to
Yeah.
lead differently. I guess is
Yeah.
the point that I'm trying to make is, but also giving enough, I had to create enough room for them to grow.
Yeah. I really appreciate when you share this stuff with me. Some of your anecdotes, like you're a little bit further along in this entrepreneurial journey than me, and sometimes I don't even understand exactly what you're saying when you say it, and then later, like I always bring back your references because I'm like, this guy, because then we grow, and then I have some of the problems you had a while ago. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I love stuff like that. What I will say, there is a certain amount. Like, I just want to do some encouragement for people out there. Once you pass a certain amount, this is what I believe. Tell me if you think this is wrong. But I think, like, let's say you go to 7 million or something like that. I believe the sky is the limit for you. I believe, and I know there's big challenges, but if you were able to get someone through some of those challenges, I believe you can go. You just have to have a much bigger vision, and you have to like almost require that of yourself, and you have to expect to win. So I think it's like, I heard somebody the other day say, I don't partner with anyone that doesn't expect to win in a huge way. They're like a private equity guy, but I like him. There's some good ones, some bad ones. And he's like, I don't partner with anybody that isn't already expecting to do like 20, 30 million. And I'm like, that's a big statement. That's kind of a crazy thing, but do you expect to win? And like, if you've already gone to a certain level, you got this, dude or ma'am, you got this, because there's so much opportunity. And yes, you've been through a bunch of challenges, but I believe in you. And I think it's going to be really cool. And we're going to the moon, baby. We're going to the moon. Let's go.
No
I
doubt.
think some people don't have that trust in themselves, but I see everyone that gets to a certain level could go. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
there's people at insane levels that you wouldn't think, right?
Yes, for sure.
You see a leader every once in a while, and you're like, how did he do that? You know what I mean? Like, so remember, that could be you. Why not you?
Yeah.
Why not you?
For sure. No, and I like that analogy, but also be ready if you're at $7 million and you want to grow to, 8 figures, just know what got you there isn't going to get you there. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, getting back to, it's one thing to, because really, if you think about it, okay, so if you're doing $7 million, that means you probably have 7 to 9 sales reps, right? And you've probably been managing your sales reps yourself. And then along with an administrative help, you probably have someone that is doing your accounting, and you probably have somebody that is answering the phones. Okay. If you're kind of like a paper contractor that doesn't actually have like window installers, gutter installers. Okay. So you probably have 12 people that work for you if you're doing about $7 million. I mean, you can do that. Okay. It's very possible. So now if you want to reach and exceed 10, 15, whatever it is, $20 million, your mindset has to completely change.
Yeah.
Completely change to go
Tell me
from
more.
that. Yes. Tell you more.
Yeah.
Well, now you
Talk
got
to me about what mindset has to flip. Like, what are the biggest levers to pull here?
Well, now you really got to think about future stuff. And we've talked about this before. You have to think about preparing the company, because it's not just showing up every day. And now I'm managing nine sales reps. Okay. Now I need to find myself a replacement. I have to trust somebody else to do a good enough job in place of me to manage 9 sales reps. So I have to coach my next sales manager. And just because he was my top sales rep doesn't necessarily mean he's going to make the best sales manager. And that's a decision. Again, I got to make a decision. I got to change my mindset, because most people are going to think my top performer is going to be my best sales manager. No bueno. That necessarily
also might not be your homie.
Yeah, might not be your homie. Right. So now you got to remove emotion from your thinking, because I love this guy and he should be the manager. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the right fit. He's not the one to keep the team motivated. He's not the guy that's going to work 7 days a week and take, because salespeople are like herding cats at times. Right. And it's just like going from a sales manager mentality to a salesperson to a sales manager. How he fed his family was completely different. He was paid solely based upon the jobs that he sold. Okay.
Mhm.
Now you're moving him into a position of a sales manager. Now he's getting paid based upon his team's performance. Can you see the mindset shift? And it's no
Yep.
different for an entrepreneur. Now, how I'm eating is something totally different. Now I have to rely on 9 sales reps in order for me to eat. And do I have to, like Gino Wickman, does he have the GWC? Does he get it? Does he want it? Does he have the capabilities of doing that? Now he's got to herd all 9 sales reps in order for him to exceed what he got paid last year. That is 2 separate mindsets. And it's no different for me.
Yeah.
If I was the sales manager of these 9 people, now I need to rely on these 9 people to feed the administrative help, the lady that's answering the phone, pay all my bills and all these things. So now I need to think about higher level stuff. Okay. Well, what higher level stuff? When I'm so used to showing up at the office and waiting for the 9 people to show up and I could tell them what to do every day. And I'm no longer doing that.
Yep.
So what am I going to do? Just sit in my office all day and twiddle my thumbs? No, I need to start thinking about some more high level shit. Now, how can I turn this into $18 million? Now we're doing $9 million. I got 9 sales reps. How am I going to do $18 million? Okay. So now I need to start thinking about creating a recruiting funnel. Okay. Don't know much about that, but I don't have anybody here that can do that for me. So now I guess I got to educate myself on how to recruit people, right? Some people would probably just pick up a phone, hire, or just start running ads on Indeed. No, that's okay. But who's going to interview them? Who's going to vet them? Who's going to hire slow and let go quickly? Right. So now my mindset shifted from managing 9 people to actually trying to recruit 9 more people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How many are you willing to share? How many people are in your business?
I think as of today, like probably 78 of us.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
And that includes, like, you have a lot of like installers and stuff working for you, et cetera. Or...
Yeah, we have in-house gutter crews, window crew, service, a whole complete service department with a fleet of people over there, administrative help, sales reps.
Yeah, we're like 36, I think, as of today, something like that. Like we've got a recruit, like we've got our full-time like HR recruiter person. We teamed, we kind of like combined it to be like talent development and recruiting, so that when she's not when we're not hiring as much, she still has a job. You know what I mean? Because there's down years, right? There's down times, and it's like, so now, so then she can like work on the curriculum for the team. So we're trying to like get her to do that, and now she's getting a little help as well on that. So it's a lot of work to find the right people. And it's like, that's another job we did originally, thinking it's not a full-time job. Every once in a while, I just need to hire somebody, you know, like, but then it like eventually becomes that. There's a lot of things entrepreneurs do that we don't really fully clock how many jobs we're doing.
Absolutely. Still today, I do probably too many jobs. But that's okay. I love where I'm at. I love the position that I'm in. And I really feel like my team still really needs me. So I still show up every day. And that's a cool place to be, and I'm grateful that I don't have to do this by myself anymore. And I'm grateful that we've created an atmosphere and an organization that people actually want to aspire to be like, and have a company that people and culture that people want to be a part of. You know, and I feel like we've kind of set the standard, especially when it comes to, you know, how we treat homeowners, how we market our brand. We don't shit talk other companies. We're a team. Like, we can talk shit on each other, but don't talk shit on us or we'll kick your ass kind of mentality. You know, it's almost like a cult like culture that we've created around here. And a lot of that goes back to your book. We've become what I think, now that you've labeled it, a hometown hero. And that's where we all kind of get to rally together and see how many pounds of food that we can generate, and you know, how many turkeys we can deep fry and all that stuff. And it's like, that's where the camaraderie, the true camaraderie and fellowship and the culture come into play. And it's not even us being behind the desk every day with their earbuds in and not socializing with each other. Like, that's not necessarily where the culture gets built. It actually gets built outside of the office, out in the streets, you know, impacting our community. That, and then we bring that back into the office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
love your
absolutely
book,
agree.
by the
I
way.
think there's so many people in this book, and I wasn't the plan when I started writing this. I mean, I definitely had community involvement as part of the plan, but so many people were recommending or doing charitable things
Mhm.
that's kind of, it became a big theme of this book, charitable stuff. And so like my team has been, you know, trying to do this stuff a little bit more. We're putting in a monthly recurring volunteering thing, and 5 people are doing the Hometown Hero Challenge today. If they finish the 5 minutes, we're giving the 500. You know, they got to finish the 5 minutes, though. You got to finish the 5-minute cold plunge.
Yeah.
You finish the 5-minute cold plunge, then we give the $500 to the charity of their choice. But anyways, it's I felt very challenged because I don't think we've been doing as much of that as we did a little bit more when we were earlier. We like had less stuff to do, so it'd be like
Mhm.
we were pretty good at some of this, but we've been giving, but we haven't been volunteering. I think
Yeah.
volunteering is kind of the hard part sometimes.
Yeah. No doubt. It's easy to give,
Yeah.
you know, but what the hard part is giving your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giving monetarily is easy. I think not just anybody can do that, but the hard part is giving somebody your actual time, an individual or a group of people. That's where the true meaning of sharing, you know, and giving come from, I think is your time. It comes from your time and the time that you put into, you know, helping somebody. So anyhow,
Mhm.
before we get off here, so who is your hometown hero? Do you have a hometown hero in your?
Oh yeah, man. So I share that in this book. It's actually my mom. And my mom
Okay.
recently passed away, and hundreds of people were at her funeral.
Yeah.
And what I kind of clocked is that, and it's the beginning chapter and then the end chapter is about her. I would go with her to these. She cleaned houses when I was growing up, and she didn't think of it as lowly the work. She prayed over the house, and she would clean toilets. And I was in the living room watching Woody Woodpecker and looking down at these beautiful lakes because they're nice homes, right? They were cleaning, and kind
Mhm.
of like, why does mom care so much? Why does mom stop everybody she meets in the grocery store and like try to pray over them? Why does mom, you know,
Yeah.
she had been working overnight at a Perkins. She had 4 sons, so this job was like a level up, right? This is the next level,
Mhm.
and so she didn't think of it as lowly work, and she really cared about every single person that she did. She worked on their home, you know, and I think at our best in our job, whatever our job is, that we don't think of it as lowly work, and we think of it as service to people, and we really care about them, and we actually like try to live our lives in such a way that each person that we come across is important. And I think my mom exemplifies that for me. So my mom is my hometown hero.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good. And my condolences. I know that's not easy. I still talk about my
Thank you,
mom.
brother.
So
No, I mean, like,
yeah.
comes and goes. It comes
Yeah.
and
I get
goes.
it. I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. Usually depends upon the time of year for me, but I got one more
Yeah.
question for you because I know you got a hard stop here. What's one thing most people don't know about you that helped shape this book?
Huge thing is I mean, I didn't put the story in here, but like the last year trying to figure out how to like take some time off of work. My Thursdays off ended up allowing me to be there with my mom when she passed. And I also, you know, the things you taught me about spending an hour meditate. I meditate during you read and journal and stuff like that. I've included that as well. And some of these things that like feel like soft, like I take Thursdays off and all that. It feels soft to probably some entrepreneurs, but like a lot of it has shaped my intentionality around my business to stop rushing from thing to thing and to start being more like higher level with the things I'm doing with my time, including writing this book. Cause I think it allowed me to like some of this freedom, a little bit more space in my head allowed me to think more strategically about this stuff. I think taking time off is actually really important for your business is the insight.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yes, that is definitely something hard for most of us entrepreneurs to take a little bit of time to step back and reflect on some things and be a better human being so we can come back and perform better for our team. No, that's good. That's a good thing, man. This has been such a powerful conversation, man. And if anyone is out there trying to build a brand, grow a business, and actually want to make a difference in your community, this episode should be on repeat. Be sure to grab a copy of Tim's new book, How to Become a Hometown Hero. It's not just a marketing guide, it's a blueprint for becoming the kind of leader your town remembers and respects. Big thanks to Tim for joining us today. And as always, if you got value from this episode, share it, tag it, leave us a review. That's how we keep bringing your conversations that matter. Until next time, this is Behind the Tool Belt, where we build more than just businesses, we build legacies. Thank you for joining us.
Out August 1st. By the way, this is out August 1st. HometownHeroBook.com, the print version, and the audiobook is really good. So if you want to, the audiobook has the voices of the people in at the end of each chapter. It's under 10 hours. It is long, but it's really good. And I tightened up all these conversations to be like the 10, 15 minutes, the best 10, 15 minutes on that particular topic, with conversations with people like John Cenac, Tommy Mello, Roger Wakefield, Martin Pettigrew, Ty Cobb backer on the front of the book. By the way, I hope you saw that. You are on the front of the book.
Oh, nice. And that's
And
our
we got
hat. That's our
bestseller.
logo. We're out there.
And it's best. That's awesome. Bestseller on Amazon. We said thank you everyone for your help. If you did that day when we got 430 sold, and yeah, thanks for everyone for the support. It's been a fun experience, man. It's been crazy. A lot of roofing people like supported us and making this thing pop, and just appreciate everyone's help. I know I've been hammering the airwaves. That's what you got to do. Got to take more action than so much action that failure would be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. No, good stuff. Good stuff, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for being my friend. I love our conversations, and keep doing what you do, man. You're making our industry a better place, man, by you just being here. So thank you for that.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
You got it. All right, everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you next week for episode 293 of Beyond the